Okay, so today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm in the loft of the aquarium. So as you can see, it hasn't got any insulation up here, and with the temperature being so cold, we're thinking the amount we're losing in heat, so I'm going to be insulating different areas of the loft. So let's start by getting rid of one of this rubbish. Right, I'm going to start with a 100mm layer. So this is a thinner layer intended to go in between the beams of the loft here. So this is supposedly pre-cut at different positions, but I find the easiest way to divide it is literally with an old wood saw. So let's get that sorted. Okay, so that's the thin layer done. I'm now onto the thicker layer. So this is a 200mm, so twice the thickness. I've rolled it the opposite direction, and it just gives that extra insulation to it to make it nice and toasty. Okay, let's move you around to the other side. Now this side, I can get the leg back on the stand. Hang on. Yes. Oh. Right. Are we level? Yes, there we go. Right, so this side wasn't too bad anyway. I needed to level it out a little bit because it had been moved at different times. So this has already had the thin 100mm layer. So it just needs a top-up layer going over top. Right, so let's get that in. So that's up here done for, well, this section up here done. So double layer on this section, and I've got to work my way through to that section there. So I'll close this loft hatch and open the other loft hatch, and we'll do the same through there. Now I know there's a couple of things people might have noticed. First of all, I'm not insulating underneath the boards. Well, yeah, that is true. There are going to be cold spots, but some insulation is better than no insulation. So if I'm doing it, I want to do it properly. I'm also not insulating all the way right to the edge and tucking it right in. You do want a small amount of ventilation there for airflow. So that's why I'm not going all the way to the edge. You might have also noticed there is quite a lot of water on the ceiling. Well, that is because it is very humid down there, and I've got this whacking great big hole that I'm climbing through. So that is, it's coming up here, it's cold, it's condensating. Once the loft hatch is closed, that won't happen. You can tell that it's not happening because otherwise all the beams would be absolutely sodden and going mouldy, and they're not. But yeah, so let's go and get to the other side. Okay, so this side's a lot like the other one. To get onto the platform. Oh dear. Oh, so we've still got rubbish up here. So this end is insulated, although like that bit there are sections missing. And then when you get down to this end here, there's no insulation at all. So I'll start by just having a quick tidy up and moving some of the stuff that we don't need, and then get on with insulating. Alright, get you on the stand. Okay, so I've had a bit of a tidy up. So those white boxes with all the cables coming out are doing the lights to the aquarium below. So I've moved them, I put a board in for these ones so they're sat up off the ceiling effectively of below, and they're now properly supported. So I'll just insulate round those. I know the lid on that one is buckled. I will have to look at that at a future time. but at the moment I'm thinking insulation, so I'm going to start again. This is a bare section, so 100mm thin layer, and then we'll go over it again with the 200 afterwards. Right, let's get on. Okay, so that's it, on with the thicker layer. Oh dear. Would you look at that? About a metre between the two bits. I have to start another roll and cut that. Right, let's get this other side done first, because there'll be a metre between these two bits as well. Oh dear. These modern lofts use a lot less material because of the way they're built. They're a pain in the backside to work in. Right. So I didn't start that one at the very end because there's an upright piece of wood there that was going to stop it. So I knew I was going to have to cut something anyway. So what I'll do is I'll roll it out from here to here, then cut it. Then that might be long enough to just go across the end there. So right, let's get on with the next bit. Oh, there. Get to have some lunch in a minute. Oh, there. I'll leave you there. I don't know how much you can actually see, but beams everywhere. Right, okay, so down here. Now this is the last little section here to do. Now I've got half a roll of 100mm thick stuff. I'm thinking, save starting a new roll of 200mm and having half a roll of 200mm, I'm going to spread the 100mm out. I mean, it's going to be a little bit thinner than the rest, but it's not insulated under the walkways and it's better than it was. So, and then we can take the spare roll that we got back and get a refund, save a bit of money. So yeah, let's get on. Okay, so that is me done up here for today. So I cut it round the electrical lighting controllers there. So fiberglass itself isn't flammable because it is glass, but obviously being an insulator, you don't want it over the top because then they'll overheat and cause problems to other stuff. So they've got plenty of ventilation around those for what they need. Same as those ones there, and the last one over here. Now obviously there's a lot of rubbish up here. We will be looking at getting rid of some of that, but to be honest, a lot of this looks like it is just that, rubbish. I know that's an old printer, so that'll be a replacement, so that'll be rubbish. This tank here, as you move it, goes crackles, so the glass is broken. and a lot of these light fittings look slightly yellow on the inside, so they're clearly used ones. So yeah, but we'll deal with that another day. That's not for today. But yeah, right, let's get down. Okay, so now I'm down and had a bit of a breather. I thought I'd just go through a couple of things quickly. So it was fiberglass that I was using. So that is literally, they melt glass and they spin it a bit like candy floss actually. It just makes long thin strands, and yeah, that's what is the insulation. It's actually quite fragile, so for cutting it, it's easy. I was literally using a pair of kitchen scissors, just like those. Yeah, I was going to say, you will take the edge off the scissors, so don't use your best pair. But it's easy enough to cut. When I wanted to cut the whole roll, I did use a old wood saw just to cut through that. It does, the one I was using does come with perforations, so it can be split quite easily, but they don't always fall in the right place. Now obviously you do want to make sure you're wearing a mask. I was wearing a decent one, and as you can see by the inside, it is filthy. So that means it did its job, because that's dirty instead of the inside of me being dirty. But yeah, so you are supposed to be wearing gloves, goggles and the rest of it, but I find that you end up so hot in there, it's not worth it. It causes more problems than it's worth. But dust mask is a must. So you might be wondering, the aquarium's been here for years, why is it we're only now insulating the loft? Well, the main answer to that is we're only now having a problem with temperature. And that is because we decided to stop, or more to the point, the owners decided to stop selling the marine fish. So, underneath these boards here is all tanks. They're all drained down and empty. All this section here is all drained down and empty as well. So water is actually quite good at holding heat. It's what they call thermal mass. So when they were running, as the temperature dropped overnight, they would actually keep the temperature of the building up. And for the amount we lost through the loft, it wasn't too much of an issue. Now, as we've drained that section down, this entire section of the building here has no heating in it whatsoever. The only heat in this entire building is actually from the aquariums. So the tropical tanks through there just wasn't enough to maintain temperature, and we were noticing when we came in the morning, the tropical tanks were cooler than they were supposed to be. So we immediately put some fan heaters in here. That got the temperature up, but we're thinking we're heating the air for it to go out the loft. So we've insulated the loft now. Should we put the marine back in here, we've insulated the loft. It'll just help. It'll keep the heating bills down, or electric bills down, for running this system. So, but yeah, so those of you that go, I'm going to get rid of my tank because it's going to save me money, it might not. You'd be surprised at how much heat they give off. So yeah, and yeah, so this is artwork as well that we got in here now. So as we took the tanks out, we thought it looks depressing without anything, so liven it up a bit with some art. But yeah, so that'll do for me today. That's enough talking, and I shall see you next time.